Hello everyone, welcome to Earth Archives. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, comment and share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thank you. Today's history talk is about the legend of the True Cross. On May 6, 2023, British time, King Charles III of the United Kingdom held his formal coronation ceremony. Aside from the royal family's continuous soap opera-like drama, the most noteworthy item was the silver cross. Some of you might wonder, what's so special about this? This cross was made by silversmith Michael Lloyd, engraved with the name of St. David, the patron saint of Wales, and it was a gift from the king to the church in Wales. What makes this cross particularly special is that it contains two small wooden fragments, said to be from the cross where Jesus was crucified, given to King Charles by the Pope as part of the coronation ceremony. These fragments were embedded in the silver cross, adding a profound religious significance to the event. For centuries, relics of the True Cross have been revered, and pilgrims have traveled to churches to venerate them. However, many have always doubted the number and authenticity of these relics, and whether they all come from the same cross. Today, let me share with you the legend of the True Cross. Even if you're not a Christian, most people are familiar with the story of Jesus being nailed to the cross. The reason Jesus was crucified is simple, because the Jewish people who believed in God did not allow anyone to blaspheme against him. Jesus from Nazareth called himself the Son of God, which was considered blasphemous by the Jews. This seemingly simple fact carries profound meaning. According to the Bible, the cross represents God's curse. Every person is actually a sinner and is subject to God's curse. But God, according to his will, chose certain people and sent Jesus to die on the cross to redeem them in order to demonstrate God's love. According to the golden legend by author Jacob de Voragine, the wood used to crucify Jesus was said to come from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Later, Seth, the son of Adam, planted a part of this tree on Adam's grave, and it remained until the time of King Solomon. King Solomon, upon discovering the tree, cut it down to use as a beam in the construction of the first temple. However, it was later found unsuitable as a beam. Many centuries later, the wood was repurposed to build a bridge. After 14 generations, the wood from the bridge was eventually used to craft the cross upon which Jesus was crucified. The historian of the Eastern Roman Empire, Socrates, in his work Ecclesiastical History, recounts the story of Empress Helena, the mother of Constantine the Great, searching for the true cross. Today, let me share this story with you. Born in 248 AD in the Roman province of Bithynia, Helena's early life was unremarkable, and very little is known about her youth. However, it is believed that she came from Drepanum, later named Helenopolis, in Asia Minor, which was a poor town and belonged to the lower class of the Roman society. St. Ambrose described Helena as a noble servant. Her life took a significant turn when she attracted the attention of Emperor Constantine I of Rome with her beauty. They married, and in 272 AD, she gave birth to their only son, Constantine I. By 292 AD, she became co-regent with her husband Constantius. Her son is most famous for issuing the Edict of Milan in 313 AD, which legalized Christianity and granted religious freedom. It is believed that it was during this time that Helena herself converted to Christianity. Helena's son, Constantine, was famously devoted to her, never leaving her side. Even after Constantius's death in 308 AD, Constantine ascended to the throne and immediately called for his mother to join him in the imperial court, granting her the title of Augusta. Constantine also decreed that everyone in the empire should honor his mother, even minting coins bearing her image. Under her son's influence, Helena embraced Christianity. With her title as Augusta, she had full access to the imperial treasury, and her next mission was to search for Christian relics. In 324 AD, Constantine I sent his mother Helena to Jerusalem with a large sum of gold to embark on a pilgrimage. He also wrote a letter to the Patriarch of Jerusalem, Macarius I, requesting every possible assistance in helping Helena complete the task of restoring Christian holy sites. Helena's main goal was to find the Holy Sepulchre and the true cross. The Holy Sepulchre is the site where Jesus Christ was crucified, and the true cross is the cross upon which Jesus was crucified. During this pilgrimage, it is said that Helena followed in the footsteps of Jesus, performing many acts of charity, such as giving money, food, and clothing to the poor, and providing funds for the church and other needs. Between 326 and 328 AD, Helena traveled to the Holy Land in the Middle East. During her journey, she constructed many churches, including the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, which marks the birthplace of Jesus, and another church on the Mount of Olives called the Eleona Church, the site of Jesus' ascension. After several weeks of traveling, Helena and her group finally arrived in Jerusalem. There they randomly selected Judas Kyriankos, a local, and forced him to help in their search. At this point, Helena was closer than ever to finding the true cross, but this is where the story of the true cross begins to diverge. Some believe that local townspeople led Helena to the location of the true cross, while others attribute the discovery to Judas Kyriankos' efforts. If you recall, Jerusalem was still being rebuilt after its destruction by Titus, and around 130 AD, Emperor Hadrian had built a temple to Venus on the site where Jesus had been crucified. While in Jerusalem, Helena inquired with several Christians and Jews, but for a long time there was no progress. Finally, an elderly Hebrew man named Jude informed her that the cross was buried beneath the temple of Venus. Helena then ordered the temple to be destroyed, and excavation work began at this location. After several days of searching, it seemed that their prayers had finally been answered. Helena reported that at that moment, with fragrant dust and a flash of lightning, they discovered at the spot where she had instructed Judas to dig not only Golgotha and the tomb of Jesus, but also 3 crosses, a wooden plaque bearing the inscription of Pilate's name, and 4 nails. The 3 crosses were believed to belong to Jesus Christ and the 2 thieves who were crucified with him. To determine which cross truly belonged to Jesus, the group sought out lepers in the outskirts of Jerusalem. Once they were found, they returned to Golgotha, the site where Jesus was crucified. The leper was instructed to touch each of the crosses in turn. When the first cross was touched, nothing happened. The same occurred with the second cross. But when the leper touched the third and final cross, he was immediately healed. Thus, Helena declared that the third cross was indeed the true cross. Following this, Constantine ordered the construction of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre at this location, which can still be seen today. An influential theologian, Theodoret of Cyrus, wrote that during Helena's search, she also discovered the nails that had been used in the crucifixion. She had 1 nail placed into Constantine's helmet and the other fixed to his horse's bridle, believing that these sacred relics would help her son wield miraculous power. Churches were later built at these sites as well. It is generally believed that Helena discovered several relics in Cyprus, including a piece of Jesus' tunic, fragments of the true cross, and pieces of the rope that was used to bind Jesus to the cross. This rope is considered the only relic of its kind, and is kept in the Stavrovouni monastery, which is said to have been founded by Helena herself. According to some accounts, Helena acquired the holy robe and had it sent to Trier. Tradition also holds that Helena brought a large number of cats to Cyprus. It is believed that she imported hundreds of cats from Egypt or Palestine in the 4th century to drive away the snakes from the monasteries. Today, the monastery in Limassol is known as St. Nicholas of the Cats. In 327, when Helena returned to Rome from Jerusalem, she brought back part of the true cross. These relics were kept in a small chapel in her palace. Although Helena's palace has since been converted into the Church of the Holy Cross in Jerusalem, the chapel and its legacy can still be seen today. The true cross was later brought to Constantinople, with part of it remaining in the hands of the Patriarch of Jerusalem. Over the years, fragments of the true cross were distributed to many Catholic churches around the world for public veneration. However, it is likely that we will never know for certain whether the pieces of the cross that were found and distributed are truly the ones associated with the legendary true cross. Helena passed away around 330 AD, deeply loved by her son Constantine, who was by her side at the time. She was later buried in the Mausoleum of Helena, located on the outskirts of Rome. Her sarcophagus is now a part of the Vatican Museum's collection. Helena is revered as a saint by the Eastern Orthodox Church, Roman Catholic Church, Anglican Communion, and Lutheran Church. At times she is referred to as Helena of Constantinople to distinguish her from other individuals with the same name. During the Byzantine-Sassanid War from 602 to 628 AD, after the Sassanid Persian Emperor Khosrow II conquered Jerusalem and took the true cross, the Byzantine Emperor Heraclius launched a counter-offensive. In 628, he successfully defeated the Persians and retrieved the true cross. The story of Heraclius reclaiming the true cross is also found in the Golden Legend, a 13th-century hagiography of Western saints. The text describes how Heraclius carried the true cross into the city, but despite the Patriarch's request to enter on foot, he insisted on riding a horse. The cross was so heavy that he could not advance until he dismounted, removed his crown, and the burden miraculously became lighter. The city gates also opened by themselves. However, some scholars, such as Konstantin Zuckerman, have raised doubts about the authenticity of the true cross. Zuckerman believes that the original cross had already been lost, and that Heraclius brought back a counterfeit, a political fabrication designed to satisfy both his own needs and those of his ally, the Persian general Shahabaraz. In 1009 AD, during the rule of the Fatimid Caliphate in Jerusalem, the Islamic Caliph al-Hakim ordered the destruction of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. At that time, the Christian authorities managed to hide the relics of the true cross. When the First Crusade took Jerusalem in 1099, the European Crusaders obtained pieces of the true cross. However, in 1187, after the Battle of Hattin, the true cross fell into the hands of the Muslim leader Saladin. Subsequently, several rulers, including King Richard I of England, Emperor Isaac II of the Byzantine Empire, and Queen Tamar of Georgia, attempted to ransom the true cross, but all of their efforts were unsuccessful. By 1219, during the Ayyubid dynasty's rule, the Muslim forces proposed an exchange to the Knights Templar. They suggested that if the Crusaders lifted the siege of Damietta, they would return the true cross. However, the Crusaders refused to negotiate, and after that, the true cross was no longer mentioned in historical records, its fate remaining a mystery. In modern times, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, who officiated the coronation ceremony, emphasized that the core of the coronation was a religious ritual, likening it to the appointment of a priest. In a newly released official statement, the Archbishop highlighted that amidst all the splendor and grandeur of the ceremony, there was one moment of calm and simplicity, that being the anointing of the king. He further stated that during the anointing, the king would wear a simple white shirt instead of the dignified robes typically associated with royalty, symbolizing that the king would fully understand the gravity of the task and the need for help. This moment, previously unseen by the public, was not part of the 1953 coronation of the late Queen Elizabeth II, nor was it included in the media coverage of her coronation. While there had been speculation about whether this moment would appear in the ceremony, it was confirmed that it would remain a private moment in the coronation. Naturally, the coronation faced criticism from long-standing anti-monarchy groups who opposed the institution itself. Furthermore, a survey questioned the level of public funding allocated to the coronation, especially in a time of global inflation, with the UK experiencing one of the highest inflation rates in Western Europe, exceeding 10%. Given this economic climate, there was public debate about the necessity of spending such large sums on a royal coronation, with British taxpayers holding the right to express their opinions on the matter.